Hello, welcome back to the interface. My name's Alex, and this is my full guide and walkthrough for the infotainment system in the Lotus Eletre. If you've got the Lotus Emea, which is very similar to the Eletre, it's sort of a saloon car, this screen will be pretty identical, but there will be some little differences which you might see. And also, if you've got the Lotus 600 or the 900 version of the Eletre, this will also apply. There's barely any differences between the two models in terms of the infotainment and the technology as well. If you want a full look at what this car's like to drive and all the interior features, the exterior design, and like a full car review, check out my link in the top right corner or the description down below, where I take a full in-depth look at what this car's actually like to drive, and as I said, all the interior features. But in this video, what we're going to do is go through all of the infotainment screen features, and we're also going to look at the driver's display, the passenger display, the rear screen in the back seats, and the Lotus app for your phone. So first things first, we've got a really high definition screen here. Lotus have done an incredible job in terms of technology, and this really keeps up in terms of where the market's going. I think this looks very much like a Tesla screen, the way it looks, the way it operates. So if you look at the nav here, very similar sort of layout here. We've got the map on the left-hand page, we've got the view of the car on the right-hand page, and you can look at different things on there. And all the climate control is a very similar sort of layout with these slidey controls, and it all works really well. So this screen is incredibly good. It's 15.1 inches in size. It's fully OLED as well. And we've got a whole host of features. We've got wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, a really powerful KEF audio system, and there's lots of features in here for that. There's a whole app store, much like the Smart #3, because both brands are actually owned by Geely, so we've got the same sort of app store on here, and just incredibly impressive. So as I said, 15.1 inch screen, and we've got a few things on this main home screen first. So we've got this is your main home screen, so you've got a picture of the vehicle, and this is how you control certain things. You'll see how responsive this is and how just incredibly fast to respond, and there's no lag at all. And this screen is powered by the Unreal Engine, which was developed by Epic Games. They're the game developers behind Fortnite and other games like that. And they really do know what they're doing in terms of a graphics engine, and just like a rendering engine. Rivian also use this rendering engine as well. So it's quite nice to see Lotus do the same thing. So we've got a picture of the car, and we can do various things. At the moment, I've got the car on charge, so it will display a few little bits there. You can see I've got the charge level here, the range as well, and also what the day and the date is as well. What's disappointing to see that this actual car doesn't represent the colour car I've got. So I've got the Eletre in solar yellow, so lovely, gorgeous colour. In certain aspects on this screen, and then the app as well, it will actually represent the colour this car actually is, but unfortunately we've got a grey one there with some different alloys. This one, as I said, is yellow with the black rims. And yeah, basically you can control certain things. If I tap on the car here, I can close the charging flap, which I'm not going to do because I am charging currently. I can change the monochromatic roof. So if I want to change how opaque everything is, I can open it up there. I can turn it completely opaque, and that will block a lot of UV light, or I can make it completely transparent, and that will show you what it's like quite nice there. Or I can do auto, and it will do its thing based on that. If I swipe around here, I can open the tailgate, deploy the spoiler. I can also lock the car here if I go around here, same sort of thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it really. You can change the roof, lock the car, open the tailgate, change the spoiler, and change the charge flap as well. So that's the main screen. Nice visual piece. It's quite nice there. Now in the top left hand corner, we've got the notifications. So this is your notification center, and it's basically told me here that I've registered the car with the app, and it's asking me to finish registering the IITC, which is a streaming and hotspot features on the car, which lets you stream music from Spotify, podcasts, and tune in radio and that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's just going to do that. I haven't got that running on this car. This isn't my car. I've got this on loan from Lotus as a press vehicle. So there's certain things I can't do or not allowed to do on the car. And one of those is signing up for the streaming subscription, which is fair enough there. I can delete notifications there. I can swipe through and see what I want to do. Can read those there. Got Bluetooth, so my device, my iPhone is connected currently. You can turn Bluetooth on and off. You can change the name on the vehicle, so at the moment it is just Lotus. You've got available devices, so if I want to scan for other devices there, I can do that if I want to. Got my phone there, I can delete the phone. I can connect CarPlay if it hasn't connected for any reason. I can come in and do different things. If I click on this tooltip here, it says you can connect up to 3 devices via Bluetooth at the same time, and you can choose to use phone calls, media, Apple CarPlay, and that sort of stuff there. Quite a nice little shortcut there. That is your air quality. So there's actually a PM 2.5 sensor inside the vehicle, and it's telling me what the particulate content is in the air. So at the moment it's quite clean in here. And this vehicle does have a air purification system, which we will look at in a second. There's this button here which gives you the network capabilities. So here the car has got its own SIM card, which with the subscription you can use to connect your phone to, and then use the car's data plan to get online, and that will save your own data plan, save your phone battery and different things. But also you can connect the car to its own Wi-Fi network if you want to. So if you are at home and you've got very poor phone service, you can just use the Wi-Fi at home and download updates, see where the car is, and you can send commands to the vehicle via the app and get it to preheat and that sort of stuff there. Quite nice. This button here is the wireless phone charging pad. It says NFC cards, which I have got the NFC card there, can disable the wireless phone charging pad. So there we go. If I put the Lotus card reader back there, yeah, it will disable that again. So that's quite nice there. It's not a very fast wireless phone charging pad. Obviously, some of the latest BYD models do have a 50-watt charger, and this doesn't have any cooling fans at all. So phones can get a tad hot if you're not too careful. On the right-hand side is the time, which doesn't click anything. And then we've also got the CarPlay button here. So let's go back there. This is wireless, very large, nice. It's got a big aspect ratio, a big resolution, which means you can fit a lot more apps on the screen, and the map and everything else is a really nice size. So something like Electroverse, for example, it's really nice and readable. It's basically like a big iPad. If you go from a small iPad to a big one, everything gets a little bit bigger. With the icons get a little bit smaller, a bit easier to read. You can fit more on the screen, just as the resolution's a little bit bigger. And that is quite nice for CarPlay, because in some vehicles, it can be a bit too big, really. So there's that option there. Let's go back to the Eletre here. We've got this button here, which is your control center. And now you can actually access this control center by swiping down. So if I swipe down, it does display that nicely. Some nice sort of translucency here to the user interface. And just before I go any further, the user interface on this car is one of my favorite on a car to date, I think. It's going to sound a little bit nerdy, but the way that the company's gone about the whole user interface design, all the fonts they've used, all the colors, the graphics, all the iconography as well, it works together so well, and it feels like Apple has designed this. That is a genuine compliment, because they are really, really good at software design, and it feels like there's actually a lot of thought that has gone into this. A lot of infotainment systems you use, and it doesn't seem like there's any thought gone into it, and this is just really, really good. So in this section here, what you can do is enable the hotspot, which I can't do because I haven't got the subscription, as I mentioned. You can turn auto hold on and off, so there isn't actually a physical button anywhere in here for doing that, so there is that option there as well. You can change the display mode, so it is on dark mode currently. So if I change this here, it's got the light mode, different sort of look there. I'm going to use the dark mode for this video. And then you have got auto as well. I'm going to put it back in dark. You can change the brightness here on the screen, so you can turn it all the way down, and auto mode, got the volume control, ambient lighting, which is really, really good. So you can turn that on and off if you want to. Really nice and bright and vivid, and just a really nice feel, and it's everywhere in the interior. Wireless device charging on and off. You've got cleaning mode, so you can long press that to exit that cleaning mode. You've got the Wi-Fi connection. You can turn on and off the passenger display. So if you don't want that on, you can turn that off. And also you can do seat adjustment, and you can turn on and off the heads-up display. If you come into edit, you can add some other options in here, like power off, parking comfort, ESC off. You can lock the rear display, and it looks like there is one more option here. So I can delete this one here if I want to, and we'll put that in there. And that allows you to turn the whole car off if you aren't using it. Just sat here, just don't want the ignition on, essentially. You also got the options to turn the massaging seats on and off, the heating seats, and the ventilated seats too. And then nothing happens if you swipe right, nothing happens if you swipe left, and nothing happens if you swipe up. You've only got access to the climate control. Now, the climate control is actually quite good here. Now, I've got some physical buttons below the screen. I've got these two lovely sort of dials here, which function as temperature adjustment, but also on and off for each zone in the vehicle. So they've got some lovely sort of tactility to them. And you can turn on and off each zone with a button press, and you can do max rear, max front, and auto as well. And then the whole climate control section is kind of here. So if I click this button here, it opens up this section. And then what I can do is turn my section on to low or medium or high. If I turn auto off, then I've got some more granular control over the fan speed. And then the way you interact with the air vents themselves, there aren't any physical buttons or physical controls. You've got these lovely sort of air vent controls here, and it directs the air for you. Now, the only sort of disadvantage to that is the fact that you can't operate it without touching the screen. But in my experience this week, it hasn't been an issue at all. I've just used the screen. I just put them in a place where I want them. You just double tap those. You can turn those on and off as well. It all works quite nicely together. Now, I've also got some controls here for where the air should go. So you've got some controls for the feet down there, the main view there. You can do that if you need to as well. Then you've got eco mode for the air conditioning, and that will save you a bit of range, slightly. You've got auto mode, which is air recirculation, so you can have it recirculate in the vehicle. You can have it pull fresh air in, or then you've got the auto mode as well. You can do sync, you can do AC max, you've got the max for the rear windscreen, the max for the front window. And then you've got ventilated seat options down here. The fan speed, as I mentioned, you can turn the whole air conditioning system off. And then the heated steering wheel on 3 stages, ventilated seats, and the heated seats for the driver. Such a lovely sort of user interface for controlling the air conditioning system. Up here, we've then got the air purification system I mentioned earlier, and that will sort of get rid of any particulates in the vehicle. At the moment, it is pretty clean in here, actually. It's pretty clean. Then also, you do have the rear section, which has a lovely animation that goes from the front to the back. That's a really nice attention to detail there. And then you can turn these on as well if you want to, so you can direct where the air would go. And that gets everything going. Let's turn that off now. And that is just doing the rear, which you can probably hear now. Let's do that. And then you've got the controls for the back in the rear, because there are some air vents underneath the seats and everywhere else. So it's all quite nice there. And again, the rear seats themselves do have ventilated seats, and they do have heated seats as well. Again, at 3 stages, which is quite impressive. And then also the front seats, they do have massaging seats. So the driver seat and the front passenger seat have some massaging balls in them, not on the seat base itself, but on the seat back. You've got loads of options here for soft, standard, or strong massaging. And you can choose, do you want upward, down, pulse, shoulder, or waist? And you can do front passenger or the driver, all quite nice there. And this button here lets you adjust the seat on the driver or the front passenger. You've got the flank support there, the lumbar. So there are some nice options. And then down on the side of the seat, I've also got the same sort of controls, but this gives you a bit more of a easy to understand sort of view. But if we look into settings here, we've got loads and loads of controls for customizing the climate control. So you've got auto start steering wheel heating, and there's a little tooltip here to see what that actually does. So let's click on that one. So steering wheel heating turns on automatically when the temperature is low. That's quite a nice little touch there. You've got driver seat heating time, which is 5, 15, 30, or just always on. So that's a timer basically. And you've got the same for the ventilation, the front passenger seat as well, and the air conditioning and the heating. You've got a air quality cabin air filter service reminder. So it will basically say it's okay and you don't need to change it yet. We've got overheat control, so it's cabin overheat protection. Click on I. It says, if overheating protection is enabled, the air conditioning will turn on for rapid cooling when cabin temperature goes over 40 degrees. Never leave an unaccompanied child in the vehicle or rely on this feature for protect pets or valuables. So that's fine there. It says in-cabin air monitoring. Let's click on this one. So the system reminds the user to select automatic air conditioning to improve the comfort if carbon dioxide or PM 2.5 or humidity is too high in the vehicle. Quite nice there. And then front windscreen fogging monitoring. Again, you can do the same sort of thing. If the front windscreen gets too foggy, it will turn on the system for you there. And then center console temperature, center console setting. So you can either use the buttons here to control the fan speed or the temperature. So that's quite a nice function there. Let's do that one there. So it says you can use that to control the fan speed. It will cycle through that mode for you. So that's quite a nice little feature. Right, so back on the main screen here, on the left-hand side, we've got the current media that's playing. You can pause and stop that or play. And on the right-hand side, we've got the 360-degree camera system. So you can see all around the car. And at the front, got the parking system, which will automatically park you. And then the settings as well. You can turn on the panoramic image when you're nearby in a narrow lane or near other objects. And then also based on where you steer, you got the trajectory lines as well to let you know where you're going, and you can customize the alerts as well. It's quite a good little feature there. Let's turn that camera system off there. And that's pretty much it for the main screen. On these buttons down here, we've got a button to take you to the apps. We've got a button for the settings, which we'll go through in a second. This button takes you to this screen here. And then we have got the navigation, which we'll go through now. So, as I said earlier, it's very similar to a Tesla dashboard. It's obviously taken inspiration from that, and it does work really, really well, actually. Now, this mapping data comes from Nokia Here, or just Here Maps, and it's really, really nice and smooth. So the zooming is really fluid, the panning is really fluid as well, and we've got some options here for the default view, which is this sort of two-tone effect for the map. We've got the satellite view here, which is pretty good as well. Again, we've got really, really high definition maps here. So if we zoom in on where we are, we can see that the Tesla chargers are there. It will tell you, so it says Tesla with a what 3 words code, CCS2 up to 250 kilowatt, and what's nearby, the hotel and different things here. And it says it's 18 chargers. So that works really, really well. It's all up to date as well. It tells you what heading you're doing. You can recenter this pinpoint here, and there are some other settings there, and it all works just surprisingly well. It's quite nice here. We can actually swipe this over here, so when you're currently navigating somewhere, you will, like a Tesla, get the lanes here. You'll get other bits and pieces, auto steer, the speed limit as well. And if we move this over here, we've got a bit more of a look at the mapping software as well. So we can recenter the pinpoint here. We can look at other settings. So if we look at settings here, we've got loads and loads of options. So you've got route options, so you can say get alerts for alternate routes. It says when you get a navigation to somewhere, it says add charging stations automatically, so you can turn that on or off. And then also when you're getting direction somewhere, you can avoid certain things like avoid highways, avoid toll roads, avoid ferries, avoid tunnels, avoid unpaved roads, and you can also avoid car shuttle trains. We'll turn that off. You can look at guidance here, so you can say show lane suggestions on or off, duration, time and distance to the next waypoint, to the destination itself. Buildings and landmarks, you can say show buildings and landmarks in 3D or show none. Got intersection view, turn that on or off, and show junctions. Speed, so you can say show the current speed of the vehicle on the map, and it will also show safety zones as well. Alert when approaching those safety zones, and sound alert in vicinity of other things like that, like a red camera alert or speed cameras. You've got parking, so you've got suggest parking when close to destination. Road alerts, so show notifications. And then for charging itself, because the Eletre is electric, we've got range support. So it will automatically tell you when your battery is at 20% or less, and it will suggest a nearby charging stop. Comfort zone, so it says set your comfort zone for remaining battery charge level at 10, 20 or 30. And this is when you're planning or using the built-in sat-nav to plan different journeys. So it will take this into consideration. 10, 20 or 30 for the charging stations. And then target charge levels, 80, 90 or 100. And setup time, so planned time for charging setup, 10, 5 or 2. Charging speed, so you can customize to say just do AC, just do DC, or just do DC 150 or faster. Charging cards, so if you've got a certain charging network, you can customize and tell the sat-nav what card you do have. So you've got BP Pulse here. Charge points, e-chargers, loads here, Eon. We haven't got Electroverse on here, which is unfortunate, but with loads of options, Genie Point, Ionity, Hyundai, Kia, Lidl, Mer. You can even say just do Tesla, which is really good because they are basically the cheapest in the country in terms of public charging, and even more so once you get into continental Europe as well. So we'll test that in a second as well. Offline maps, you can download maps, and it looks like the car's got a really big SSD, so it's got 182 gigs of storage, which is crazy to me. So you can download the software there. Map display, so show traffic, show accommodation, show charging stations, show facilities and parking and different things like that. So lots of point of interest options. ADAS maps, so it tells you what version it's on. It's got here navigation, and then data privacy as well. So now what I'm going to do is get directions to London from where I am in Glasgow. So let's do search here, and let's do Glasgow. Let's do that. Well, actually, that's where I am. I am in Glasgow. So let's do, let's say Kent. That's suitably far away, I think. So Kent's 372 miles away. Let's do go. We'll do add stops, and that will plan in some Tesla stops for me by the look of things. So this is really good. So if I click on this here, it's not doing Tesla ones, but it's doing grid serve. It says grid serve here. So it says takes your added card, the Tesla card, which isn't actually correct. So there might be some differences there. So if I click on that here. So the first stop is grid serve. Let's have a look here. This looks like it's grid serve, wherever that is, Carlisle. And then the next one is grid serve Nottingley, which is 30 charges there. And this one is Toll Bar Way in Huntingdon, 6 charges there, and then you'll get to the end. So it's obviously chosen nice fast chargers for me because this can charge really quickly, but it hasn't taken into consideration the cards I've specified. It would be nice if you can customize the charging networks that you want to use, because personally I just want to use the Tesla ones because they're really cheap. So there are other options there. So you can end the trip here, and we'll do that. And then lastly, this button here will show you traffic information. So it says your drive looks clear, and that is pretty much it. Over here we've got the view between the default one, and this one will show the current range of where you can get to. So the battery level I've got currently, it gives you this sort of view here where you can actually get to in yellow. So that's quite clever there. So now let's go through all the apps that come on this vehicle. So the first one is media down here. And this is your radio, your CarPlay, USB and Bluetooth audio. So this view here is your radio. You've got CarPlay there, so music from your phone. USB, let's turn that down. So nothing's connected via USB, so that gives you that option there. Got Bluetooth, so nothing's connected via Bluetooth, but you have got those other options there as well. And this button here gives you the sound stage, which we will go through those settings a bit later. If I go back to media here, so the radio app itself, we've got this button here, which lets you see what stations are available where you are right now. And this is a combination of, looks like DAB, doesn't look like FM or anything actually. So it looks like it's just DAB of what I can pick up here. FM's right at the very end there. It doesn't look like there's any AM either, but we'll look at this filter. So what the filter does is just pick the sort of the genre of the station. And most of these look like, as I said, they look like just DAB stations there. Got favorites here, so you can pick a favorite station. So if I go back here and pick, let's say, do Heart Scotland or something along those lines. Let's hold that one. Or if we go back here, and then press Heart, and go back to here, and then press Favorites, it's there for you there. And you can just type in a search and search what you want, or just a frequency along those lines, and it will play that for you. This settings button here says additional DAB announcements should be turned on. DAB slideshow, traffic announcements, and also switch to a similar station if the current reception's poor for any reason. So that's a nice option. Got CarPlay, so if you are listening to music via CarPlay, you can control that from here without going back into CarPlay for any reason. And then USB, Bluetooth, as I said, and then the soundstage. The next app is the phone app, so it will just go to Apple CarPlay, but you have got this nice sort of contacts page. You've got a favorites option, and you can just reconnect your phone if you want to there. We've got the Messages app, so this will pull data from your phone via Bluetooth again, and you've got some sort of canned messages here like "Okay, thanks, I'll call you later," that sort of stuff there. The next app is the Help app, so there are some options here. Let's press I know. Go back here. Maybe I have to press set. Do set then. We'll do fully activate Lotus connectivity and share my data. That's fine. And we'll go back to the help option. So that calls roadside assistance, which you don't want to do. That will call Lotus support for you and get you some help for where you are. So we won't click on that. Lotus Apps here. So much like the Smart #3, the App Store is pretty much the same, and that's because Geely owns Lotus and Smart, and they've got a very similar sort of thing here. So you've got some apps here. We've got, let's look at media and entertainment apps. You've got TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, Spotify, Tidal, Audials, and Deezer. And then you can look at demos. So you've got Dolby Atmos, which is a really good app actually. Productivity, you've got weather, calendar, and Vivaldi browser. Let's download the Vivaldi browser, which won't let you do because I'm not connected to Wi-Fi, which we'll leave that then, which it is downloading anyway. Okay, calendar and weather, and gaming. We've got Beach Buggy, which we will download here. Let's download that as well. Gonna let you do anyway. And then the car came with Bird Bump, which is a cool little game there. So we've got the profile here, and then settings. So it says software version is 4.10. Software is already updated, and you can search for different apps. There aren't many on here really. It would be nice to see more options, but that's kind of it really. And we'll go through those apps in a bit later. Got charging, so this is telling you what the car's doing. So you've got the current voltage, the time remaining, the charging speed, the power that it's drawing. The car isn't drawing that much power because this is an 800 volt car, and the charge I'm using is a Tesla V4, and those are 400 volt, so it do some conversion to convert that 400 volt into 800 volt, and it just uses an onboard inverter, and that's all this car can manage, which is 79 kilowatt, which is fine really. Charge it pretty quickly. And there are some options in here to set the battery level, so if you just want to use 80% or 100%, you can do what you want in there. And there are some efficiency options in there, which we will look at a bit later. Got parking here, so again, the parking cameras, which we looked at earlier. Got the user manual, so this will load the user manual, which is really nice and gives you just a ton of information, just loads of information about how to use the car, certain features, and what to do in certain scenarios. It's really, really good. So you've got the user notice here, got Lotus Hyper OS, which is what this software is called. Got safety information here, got some videos you can watch on how to do certain things. So it shows you what to do here. So drive mode, seat adjustment, smart driving. Yeah, all lots of options in there. You've got an online manual, favorite options, and then search as well. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Bird Bump, Dolby Atmos, and then TuneIn Radio and Beach Buggy Racing. You've got the Vivaldi browser, which I don't think is actually downloading. We shall see here. Let's have a look. No, it's not downloading. Well, it has actually downloaded, but it won't let me use it because I haven't got the streaming service. That's a little bit unfortunate. But from these pictures, it looks like you can just browse the web and watch videos and things. That's quite a nice feature. It looks like it just runs an Android sort of type thing, but there's lots of options in there, which is quite nice there. So let's go through the settings on the car now. Loads of options in here. So the first one is vehicle, and you can customize everything really. So you can say walk up to unlock the vehicle if you're carrying the main key. If you're carrying the key card, this little thing, it obviously won't. So you have to tap it on the pillar here, but you've got walk away lock, auto close windows, unlock. You've got two-step unlock, which let's have a quick look here. First key, press unlock on driver's door. Second key, press unlocks all doors. That's if you're using the main pebble key. And then reduce guard as well. So It says double locking, sorry. Interior motion sensing, IMS, and inclination sensing, IS, are disabled. Situations such as the vehicle being towed will not trigger the alarm. So if you are towing the vehicle, that's what you can do. But there is that option there if you want it. So next you've got key management. So on this vehicle, there are 6 different keys you can add to the vehicle and 6 different user profiles, which is just insane. Most cars have 2 or 3, but you can actually have 6 of these different key cards for different owners, and different users, people that drive the car, and they can all have their own sort of setup here, which is quite nice. And it says how to use a digital key, and it says if your smart device supports UWB, you can use your Apple Watch or your phone to unlock the car. That is what it looks like to me to be Apple Car Key, which I can't demo in this vehicle because it won't let me add a new car key, but that is their option there. And it says valid time of NFC keyless start, off 30 or 2 seconds, or 2 minutes, sorry. So we'll do 30 seconds here. So then also intelligent glass roof. You've got auto transparency, drive hold, auto hold, hill descent control, ESC off. So auto hold is one of those things that isn't actually a physical button here, but you have got that option there as well. And then hill descent control is on or off. Again, one of those things that isn't actually on a button here. And you can turn off the traction control as well. And if the gear selector is faulty, you can release the parking brake that way if you need to. There's also some maintenance options down here. It's got tyre pressure, tyre temperature, and tyre sensor. And you can also put the car in jack mode. So it says sets the ride height to the highest level for easy maintenance. And then windscreen wiper maintenance. So it says here, temporarily moves the wipers to the upright position. Please use it after turning off windscreen wipers. So if I turn off the wipers now, and then you can put them in the maintenance mode, and then I'll put the car back on automatic mode there. Others, you've got mirror tilt when reversing. You can do both mirrors or tilt down when you're reversing there. Spoiler always active, you can turn that on or off. We've got welcome show. So on the exterior, the unlocking triggers interactions from the front lights, tail lights, and LiDAR, active air front grille, and active rear spoiler. On the interior, a sequence plays on all screens and the ambient lighting. And then we've got driver seat easy entry and exit, so everything will move around for you, including the wheel itself. And you can turn on the wireless device charging. And also you've got parking comfort, which is will keep the vehicle power on after the vehicle is locked. The vehicle will automatically power off after the set time or the battery level drops below 20%. Never leave children in the vehicle alone. And you can choose how long you want everything to stay on for. I'm going to do 30 minutes. Then you've got power off, you can turn off the entire system there. So parking comfort, also you can actually just turn the whole system off if you want to as well. You've got lights here, so you've got ambient lighting, loads and loads of lighting in this vehicle, really bright, really vivid. You've got a default colour, which is actually just a pink colour. You've got custom colour, which is like a yellowy colour, which is quite nice. And you can turn that on and off if you want to. Makes it look a bit dull without it, and it just sort of fades nicely in. And you can choose all kinds of colours here. You've got pink, you've got blue, you've got green, you've got orangey yellow, which I quite like. Respond to climate control input, so you can see just below the screen there, you can see it goes blue and red, which is quite nice there. I can turn that off now. Respond to battery charge level, respond to incoming calls, and then you've got exterior lights, so adaptive front lights, which is the adaptive high beams, and then the tourist mode. So the tourist mode will optimise the low beam for the side of the road you're actually using, and that's quite nice there. Not a lot of cars have that feature, so it's quite nice to have that feature on the Eletre. Got the drive mode options here, so you can choose between individual, sport, tour, range, and off-road, and then each mode will raise and lower the ride height for the best efficiency out of the vehicle and different options there. And then you've got the ride height, so you can customize how high you want the vehicle, how low you want it, and you've got standard, high, or highest. Just loads of really good options. I like to have the car in range mode. You get a good sense of performance. You get loads of options there, so it's quite good. So you've got safety. So you've got quite a lot of features on this vehicle. You've got drive modes. You've got the lane keep assist. So let's have a look here. So it says when the vehicle deviates from the lane, it will try and move the steering wheel back in the lane and play the alarm sound. A lot of the roads in the UK aren't very wide, and this vehicle is actually quite a wide car. So this car does struggle with that sometimes. So sometimes it is probably best to turn it off, and yeah, it will stop being annoying. It's on wider roads it is absolutely fine, but a lot of the roads in the UK aren't very wide, so that can be a bit of a problem. You've also got automatic speed limit alarm. That is a visual alert and a sort of a alarm sound itself. You've got the speed limit alarm itself. You've got automatic speed adjustment. So it says when using the adaptive cruise control, it will detect the speed limits in real time and adjust the speed there. You've also got lane change assist with the highway control on. What it will do is when you activate the indicator, the car will change lanes by itself. And then you've got this weird feature called build emergency lanes. You've got that off, on, or automatic. And it says here, it will build a emergency lane during traffic jams on the highway. Automatic or off or on. Quite an interesting feature there. And you've got adjust speed to route. You've got that on if you've got a roundabout coming up, and it will sort of slow you down for you. You've got active safety. So you've got fatigue detection, autonomous emergency braking, rear collision warning, and rear cross traffic alert. This feature here, it can be a bit intrusive. It doesn't seem to understand certain things. So I would enable or disable that on your discretion, but there is that sort of disclaimer there. You've got rear collision warning. So you've got activates the hazard warning lights if a vehicle is detected rapidly approaching from the rear to alert its driver. Applies the brakes if a risk of being tailgated is detected. And then rear cross traffic alert. If there's a risk of collision, it will promptly alert the driver. You've also got blind spot detection here, which again is an off, visual, or visual and alarm. Door opening warning, which is, it says when stationary or travelling at slow speed, if a door is opened, it will trigger the indicator light on the wing mirror. Life detection and care, so it says it will monitor the user if there's any children left or lock in the car. According to relevant regulations, this switch will be turned on by default every time the vehicle is restarted. I'm glad that has got a disclaimer, because a lot of vehicles have all these features that turn on when you restart the vehicle, but people don't know why they do that. And it's nice to have Lotus put that in here, and that is one of the things that is required by Euro NCAP in order for a car to get 5 stars. You have to have that sort of thing in there. And at the bottom there, we've got occupant safety, and you can turn on and off the front passenger airbag. Then also here we've got sound, so really impressive sound system on the Eletre. We've got the option here of different sound modes. You've got source, stage, and spatial. It says feel the cinematic atmosphere and become part of the soundscape. It sounds incredible, really. Really quite impressive. You've got vehicle noise compensation. You've got media volume automatically adjusts with the vehicle speed. You've got active noise reduction. And that will generate reverse anti-noise in real time to reduce in-cabin road and tyre noise. You've got navigation voice over media. And you've got all the volume different controls in there. And it says powered by Dolby Atmos and powered by KEF audio. Under this display, we've got turn off the display, cleaning mode. You can turn off the passenger display if you want to. Quite a nice option there. Rear display lock, so you can lock that screen. Got display mode, light, dark, or auto. Auto adjustment for the brightness. You can even customize the brightness of the buttons down here if they're too bright for you. You can adjust the heads-up display, so you can customize where it is in terms of the real-time view. And then you can customize the view for the heads-up display, so you either have pure or advanced. Advanced just sort of reorientates everything for you, which is quite nice. We've got account, so it says the owner of the account here. Lotus Connect Prestige, which is additional comfort, control and safety features. It's a free trial. Got managed subscription here. So it says login with the Lotus app. Got expiry date, switch accounts and log out. Privacy, so you've got fully activate Lotus connectivity, share my data, and then system, language, voice wake up. So if you say hi Lotus,
what would you like to do next?
What can you do?
I am learning this function. Please try again later.
Hi Lotus, what's the weather like today?
What would you like to do next?
What's the weather like today?
Today it will be cloudy in Bells Hill with a low of 10 and a high of 19 degrees Celsius.
Pretty good. I'm going to turn this off because sometimes it can be a bit intrusive. It can pick up certain words that sound like the word Lotus, and then yeah, it'll try and help you out, which I suppose is nice, but yeah, there is some issues with that. Date format, time format, units for the pressure, the temperature and the distance, and the network reset. You can turn 5G on and off, so we turn that off, just defaults to 4G, and you can just turn 5G on if you want to. Check for updates here. There we go, overnight updates instead. To accept. Go back to settings and then system. It tells you the VIN number, the vehicle ID, purchase date, odometer, open source license, got the brand, the model, and then the eCall features, and then you can factory set everything if you want to. Also up here is the Lotus button, and that is your account. And you've got the car owner. You can create different profiles here, restore them, and you've got some options in there as well, all quite nice and easy to use. So this little rear screen here is for the backseat passengers, and it lets them do a few things. So you can adjust the volume of the stereo, which is quite nice. You can adjust your climate control, so you can come in here and turn on the air vents, and you can turn those on if you want to and adjust where the air goes, all quite nice and easy to use. You can come in here and adjust the front passenger seat if that seat is in the way for any reason, which is quite nice. You've got options to adjust the brightness of this actual display. You can adjust the transparency of the roof as well, because it is a monochromatic roof. And you've got options to adjust the sound stage, so either source, stage or spatial. And then down here you can actually choose what music you want to play, so either the radio, USB or Bluetooth. This little moon icon down here lets you turn the whole display off, and that is pretty much it. So this driver's display is really crisp. It's OLED, really easy to use as well, and it lets you view a few certain things. You've got the speed in the middle here. On the left hand side you've got the regen level. So paddles here, if you adjust the regen, you've got some options in there. On the right hand side you've got the driving mode and the battery level, so you can see it's on 69%, and if you use the paddles here you can adjust the driving mode between tour, range, off-road, individual, and there's some other modes as well. And when you've got the cruise control on, this display tells you everything you need to know. It might look a little bit small, but it does give you everything you need to know about the vehicle and driving. The heads-up display also pretty much tells you exactly the same stuff as this display here. So on the passenger side, you've got this little display here, and this lets you control the music in the car and also see what music is currently being played. So if I pick something from CarPlay, for example, it will then play the music there, and you can see there's a ticker along the bottom to let you see how far along the song you are. And if you click on the screen here, you can then play and pause the music. And then you can skip tracks, and then the moon icon in the left hand corner lets you turn this display off. Let's have a quick look at the Lotus app for iPhone. And much like any other EVs on the market, this has a really good overview of what the car is doing, and it lets you control the car remotely, which is incredibly important for preconditioning the battery, but also preconditioning the car ready for when you leave. And you can also see where the car is, but also what battery level the car has, which is also really quite important. So on the top of the screen there, you've got the name, and Lotus have named this car after the registration plate, which makes sense. You've got when the app was last updated, so when it last got data from the car. You've got a help button here, which lets you see different bit. Well, it just tells you that the actual reference of the vehicle, the actual picture of the vehicle might be different to what the car actually is. You've got some notifications here. So at 11 AM this morning, it said charging stopped because I actually unplugged the charger. It was all done. We've got a button here to say give access to the following things, like a camera for QR code. So that's all good there. Got a picture of the car, so you can see it in real time, what it's doing. It doesn't actually represent what the car is actually doing in real time, like the lights and different things. That is what the main screen is, but you've got a nice overview of the car. I can't really see anything wrong with the configuration. That is yellow with gloss black, the roof as well. So I think that is all perfectly fine. Got the road brake calipers and the wheels as well. You click on car status, that tells you the pressure on each wheel, but also the temperature on each wheel, and you can see if anything is plugged into the vehicle, which is all nice and easy to use, and you can unlock the car by using this screen as well. On the section at the bottom, you've got the lock button for the car. You can turn on the air conditioning remotely if you want to. At the moment it says it's unavailable because the car is actually in use. You've got windows, you can open the windows if you want to. Again, it's unavailable. You can open the boot, flash the lights, ventilate the windows, and then also play the horn if you want to, if you lose the car in a car park. Got the battery level here, so if the car is currently charging, you will be able to see what level it's on and actually how many kilowatt it is charging at, what amps as well, but also the battery status, and you can set a charge limit if you want to. Got the temperature inside the vehicle, it is 24 degrees, and that is different to what is displayed on the touchscreen. So the touchscreen is saying 21 degrees, but inside here it is 24. And you've got some other options down here. You've got more features. You can remotely park the vehicle. Got geofence options there. So this will allow you to set up a geofence, and you can set a radius, and you can get it to do certain things when it does exit or enter those certain locations. All quite easy to use. You've also got some scheduling options here. So you've got departure time. So you can say every day at 6 AM, I'm going to leave the house. You can precondition the battery, and you can do a scheduled charge if you want to. And then you can customize this whole page if you want to, which is nice and easy to use. Down the bottom, you've got the Lotus community, which might not load because I haven't got very good reception. It's basically like a news feed for what's going on with Lotus and different things there. There isn't actually much happening there. The last update was earlier this month, and before that it was January, so there's not much going on there. In the map section, you can see where you are in relation to the car and also the nearby charging spots. Explore, so you can book a test drive. There's some advertisements for other vehicles that Lotus do make. Got the Avaya there, the electric Avaya, the Eletre, which is this one here, the Amea, and then the Amira as well. Different options that Lotus makes, and also you can see where your nearest Lotus dealers are. There's one in Bristol, one in Cardiff, and different things like that. On this page here, you've got the Me section, so you've got your email address there, your profile. You've got Lotus cards, so you can bind your charge card and your payment method, and that allows you to do that, which is quite nice. Down the bottom, you've got your garage. If you do own more than one Lotus, you have got the option in there to do that. Home charging, so there is a home charging solution that Lotus does partner with, and you can get that all done if you want to. You get a quote for that option, and it just tells you what the charging unit is. Unfortunately, it isn't a Lotus branded charger. That would have been quite nice. And then you've got my orders and feedback and different options like settings here. So you've got notifications, digital key supported devices, cache, and different things. Quite a nice little app actually, really easy to use, and it does update relatively quickly as well. So that's been a look at the infotainment system and the Lotus app for the Lotus Eletre. I'd love to know what you think about this infotainment system in the comments down below. Again, if you want a full in-depth look at what this car is like to drive, there's a link at the end of this video, but also in the description down below. My name's Alex, and I'll see you again next time.